Okay, now you get some like idea what is access, but maybe you still don't know why we use access. It's not that straightforward for the feeling, right? You see a new software, but you don't know why we need both Excel and access. Let's use the second chapter to give you a better understanding about access. Let's do the training for the oh sorry, so the second second chapter for access. Okay. So I will go a little bit fast if it's not important. If it's important, I will tell you more details. So first, let's open a new blank. Um, so this is a blank one. When you open a blank one, you only have one table with nothing inside. Not like before. Before we did two things. One is create from file, actually load a file. Another one is use a template. But here we use a brand new one. Okay. So we want to create first things. We want to create new columns here. So we click here to create. It asks for short text. So we just choose short text. And name is the branch ID, right? Branch ID. Okay, save the table as branch. So table as branch. Okay. Now, actually, this is created by this tool, right? If it's the real world, we don't have those. Okay, switch the view to the design view. And with the branch table open in design view, delete the ID field. Remember the ID has a prime key. When we delete that, it should show you an alarm. But it's okay, so we won't delete that. Okay. Now the table is uh, without a prime key. Usually in the SQL database or like Excel, sorry, like Access, we usually use prime key. So we want to add a prime key. Just simply click on the prime key. Right? That's the prime key. Okay. So now your table has a prime key. And remember in last chapter we talked about the data type, right? So if by default this is short text can be long as 250 characters, but we want to change that to 5, which means in the branch ID you at most you only have 5 characters. It's longer than that, it will show you an error. Right? It's very strict. Let's do that. Let's enter and manage the name for the caption. It shows you what show up, right? The column name is called manager, but you can show as managers name. Okay? And now in design we add new filter, right? We can add new column. Just simply write it here, right? Write it here to add one column. Start date, and by default, if it's not it will set null for anything that has non-data before. Okay. If you're wondering what is happening when we add a column, it will add a column with all the blanks. Okay, the branch table view in the data sheets, and we'll enter date. So let's this is easy. Don't need to talk too much about here. Let's do the next. Bring the process to import Excel. Okay, now we have the table here, right? We have the branch here. However, if you want to use Excel as a source, right, we can save table in Excel, and we want to use that table as a data source. Then we can import from Excel. So we can do external data, new data source. There are a lot of options here, right? We use from file Excel. And find your file is called this one. Open that. So it will actually load this Excel as one table here. Okay. And the first row contains column headings. If you don't choose that, it will put the headings into first row. Okay, so we want that. Next. And so it's for modified options to the field that is indexed with no duplicates, right? And whether it allows duplicates, right? Because we want this one to be the primary key later, so we don't allow any duplicates here. Okay. Next. Cite the CID fields of primary key. Cite files as a primary key. Right? Primary key is also a very important concept in the database. Right? You always need to create a primary key for a table. And by default position. So this will import the Excel file as a table here. Okay. So how about access, right? HCDB, right? Access database. We can import access database itself as well. So same thing here, external data, new data from database, access. Okay, now we just browse. This one. Okay. So select the account table and click on OK. So if it's import from the access, it may have more than one tables, right? It has queries, forms, all those kind of stuff. You can import anything. Okay. Close. Okay, now we have another table imported by another access. Right? We can import table from other, or we can import file from Excel. Okay, let's do some addition here. Let's change the name for the first prime key, right? And so the phone is short text. Right? Why is not number? Think about the phone, right? When you use phone, it is especially in North America, it's a very good format. So we have must. What is must? Let's click on that. Save. Right, the must. Right? For example, as the first one, phone number. It must be in this format. 3 digits, and 4 digits after. Right? Must be in this shape. You can choose others if you want, right? So anything if it's not in this shape won't be accepted. Okay? So that's what we want for phone number. Now you have the phone number all in this shape. Okay? So then we want to add new record. We've done that before, so let's just add one. Creating relationships, right? We've seen relationships. Now we want to create our own, right? Create our external data. Database tools, relationships, and we want to add those string tables. Just drag them to the field, Okay, and we want to create one-to-many relationship between the branch ID fields from branch table and account table. So we want to go from branch to accounts. I would say enforce, right? Enforce which means these two, everything from the accounts must be in the branch. If you don't have the branch, how can you open an account, right? So we want enforce. Let's create a little bit more relationships. So we want to join the customer ID to the customer ID, and we also want to enforce, and we also want to update cascade. What does this mean? Which means this is the essential table for customers. If you have any change from the customer. For example, as I said, if we change the customer ID, and the accounts table will automatically change as well. Okay, you don't have to change here, then go back to change here as well. It's a cascade update. Right, there's another option for the cascade delete. If we delete from here, every record with this customer ID will drop from the accounts table automatically. Right, so it depends on the use case. But for here, we just need updates. Open the accounts table in the data side view. Just double click. Okay, then we want to add a new row. Right, remember we have a branch ID from the branch to accounts. If the branch does not exist, you cannot use that. Right, it can only find the branch in the list of the branch table. So let's try to finish this one. Let's say B60. B60 is not in the table originally. If you don't remember, just tell you, it's not in the original table for the branch. So if you do this way, you will report an error says like this. Right? You cannot add change record because related record is required in the table branch. So you have to add B60, right? B60 to the branch. Then you can do this. But if you don't want to do that, we want to fix that. This means you have a typo here, so it can help us to identify typo automatically. Okay. Now I change to 50, succeed. Okay, so this is one way to create let's create a very powerful tool in the Access. It's called query. Right? Query is if you don't know what's query, you can think about the VLOOKUP. What exactly happened for VLOOKUP? But query is more powerful here. Let's do that step by step. First, let's use the wizard to make a simple query. So it's and create, right? Create query wizard to do a simple query here. Okay. Then from the accounts table, add fields, account ID, customer ID, and branch ID, and the balance. Okay. Nice. And detail, yes. So name this one as comes from campus branch. Okay, and finish. Okay, so we have query created. We have query created. This is a query, right? This is a query. And we want first thing is we have account ID. These four that we select before, right? Select these 4 columns from the wizard. We want to make a filter. So we say B50. So click here. B50. Okay. And at the meantime, we this is means we filled out any branch with B50, and then we also want to sort by account ID. Right? And you need to run that. Remember, access only when you recalculate when you want to run that. Excel always in the real time only if you disable the recalculation. But here you only do that calculation when you need it. Okay, and it gives you the return. This is the return. This is the return. You get the branch only for B50 and it's sorted by account ID. But some students may say, oh, it's not that useful. Let's do some more here. So in accounts branch, we want to. So this is remember this is not in the accounts, but in the accounts query. Account query is it's not the original table, but we still can add something here. Say, uh, oh sorry, we want to change something. So it's here. I want to change this one to 12,000. And I'll close that. Right? The query when you run that, it will generate result for you. and you can add it on that. Let's see what happened for the accounts. You can see uh, the data here becomes 2. Um, this one, right? Becomes to 12,000. Becomes to 12,000. And we can add one more. Add one more to the data. This is 0.5, 8,000, and 8, 4, 18. Open the query again, right? Let's run this query. You see, we add this row and it show up here. So this means the query and the table is linked. It's linked. Now let's make a copy of this. Table. Also, we want to name that to sorted. And open that in Design. Right click, Design. So remove the sort from the content. Just choose not sorted, and sort come by customer ID and by balance. Run the query. Okay. So that is not sounds like fine. You just do search and sort, right? But the most powerful thing is here. Here's one table, and we can add one table here. Then we can add the fields from both. Here we want to add the location from branch. Okay, and we want only for campus. Delete the checkbox. We don't want to show that, and we don't want filter on that. So which means we can use the result for both, right? For both tables, we can filter on location, even the location is not in the account. Okay. Being to create a query in design view. So we want to create a design query. Previously we used wizard. Now we want to use design view. It's more detailed. We want to choose all the tables. We can use all these 3 tables. And the last name, first name, and the balance, location. Right? Those 4 columns from 3 different tables. We didn't tell the access what to do. We don't need to write VLOOKUP. We just need this relationship. Right? We have foreign keys here, so the access will know what to handle. So create here, we need to do equal, less or equal than 1,000 for balance. Less or equal than 1,000. Run the query. Okay, so you can see last name, first name, balance, location. They are from 3 different tables, so you don't need a VLOOKUP. And also you have the filter here, right? Only more than 1,000. So it also apply the filter. It's very easy to do that. And you can save this query. The next time when you want to use it, you just double click that. Everything's done. Okay, save the query. Save this query as. So we save that as a balance 1,000 or less. So next time you just double click next time just double click that query, it will show up. It will show up. Let's do another one. So balance less than 2000. And from the can add location, open date. So open dates and opened or after this date. So that is greater than or equal than 1/1/201. Okay, and sort the date. Now we add a new criteria here. So in Access, just do what you want to do. You don't need to memorize too much formula. Now we have a formula. We don't talk about it here in this class. The last question from the custom table: add custom ID and account ID and run. Right? It's just two columns from different two tables. Okay, this is all custom ID with different accounts. So you can see some customer have more than one account. Right? Okay. Display the number of the custom buy. Design rule. Add a total row. So we want to add a total. So the totals here. When you click on totals, just need add new row here, right? You can group by customer ID, and we want to say how many accounts for each client. Right? We can say this one is count and run. It shows you for each client how many accounts they have. Okay. Now you can see the power of Access. It's very fast and very easy to use. Okay, that's for this week. In the next week, we will work together with a greater project. If you have time, you can go through this and chapter 3 and chapter 4. But the capstone project will cover all of this content.